What's up, everybody? It's Dr. Laura Pence here with Understanding Your Greatest Self. As you may notice, I am not in my office anymore. For anybody who's interested, I've moved to Colorado. Yay! So now I work from home, so we're filming from home today. So don't get distracted by the kitchen in the background and start thinking about food. Let's talk about boundaries. All right, so in our last episode, we talked about the 3 different kinds of boundaries, right? So healthy boundaries, rigid boundaries, and fuzzy boundaries. And today we're going to talk about why it's important to understand your family boundaries, right? So any of those 3 types of boundaries can exist in a family system, and multiple kind of versions of each can also, be included in your family system. And it's important to just spend some time reflecting on what was the boundary system like in my family of origin, right? So your family in which you grew up. And what is the boundary system like in my current family? So if you're married, maybe you have a partner or a spouse, have children, what kind of boundary system exists there, okay? And some of the key things to kind of think about is, do we respect each other's boundaries, right? So, for example, if my husband wants to go, do something and, we've talked about it and, explored what the pros and cons are, like, are we respectful of each other? Do we respect each other's boundaries? If I have children, what kind of boundary systems do I set in place for them, right? Do we have rules in the house, by the way? Yes, we do. Do we follow those rules and are we consistent? We try to be, but we could probably do better, right? What are the ways that I respect their privacy? Do I knock on the door before entering? Those kinds of things can all help you understand what kind of boundary system exists in your family. And here's how. So I'm just going to take that example of knocking on their door, right? So part of a boundary is what's okay and what's not okay. And a door is actually really like the most simple symbol for a boundary, right? Well, if I'm constantly barreling into my children's room, right, then I am actually not creating a safe place for them in which they feel like they can contain privacy, right? So one of the ways that I demonstrate a healthy boundary is before I go into the room, if the door is closed, I knock on the door first. My children are only 8 and 4, but it's already beginning to establish this sense that they have a particular space that's theirs and that I need to respect that space, okay? So that's an example of, one type of boundary system that can exist in a family. But there are many different examples of that, right? So I want you to begin to think about, and your key question of the week is, what boundary systems existed in my family of origin, right? So where I grew up and how I grew up, and what boundary systems exist today and now, okay? So that's your key question of the week. All right, so join us in our next episode. In our next episode, we're going to start reviewing trust a little bit, and how do you build trust, and what happens when trust gets fractured, all right? Make sure you're tuning in, hit that subscribe button, tell your friends about this video series, and make sure you're joining me each week. I'll see you next time.